how do you see Martin O'Neill lining up the midfield for LASK? Because obviously Engels now away and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is banned, which seemed to come as a complete surprise to everyone at Celtic. For some reason, nobody checked this out last year. It reminds me of last year when we asked Martin who he was picking for his 3 out of 6 players to add to the squad in January for Europe, and he's like, you only get 3? I don't think nobody told him. They'd only the door 2 minutes, and nobody told him that you only get 3 of these guys at the 6. And nobody at that point said, oh, by the way, Oxlade-Chamberlain isn't actually going to be available. So that was a bit of a mistake, but it leaves Celtic a wee bit light in there, doesn't it? How do you see it?
Well, it's been stressed, I think, within Celtic and just the way they line up that Mika Bauer's not the Engels replacement. I think that will prove true by the end of the transfer window, but he's definitely going to be the Engels replacement on Wednesday night, because I just think if Oxlade-Chamberlain potentially, I think that could have been it, McGregor, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Negrin ahead, but obviously without Oxlade-Chamberlain playing it means Martin O'Neill needs to think differently. Luke McCowan, I don't mean this disrespectful, I just feel there's certain games where
when anyone says that, usually what follows is massively disrespectful.
Right, well,
like,
I would say
dot.
Exactly right. Well, maybe I'll be slightly. I feel there's certain games when McCowan, if it doesn't start well for him, that he ends up in a panic where even, do you know, the Rangers game actually ended up having a few good moments, but the Rangers home win and the way they run in, there was a few dicey moments for him. He just doesn't get on the game straight away. He's full endeavour, but I just think Bauer's passing, you could see there was plenty of skill and the ability to turn in tight spaces. What you would lose with a Bauer and McGregor too is LASK are very physical in midfield. They love a high press. But I think you just need to go. I don't think there's that many ways to skin a cat here, in the sense you get Bauer, McGregor, Negrin. You yourself, in terms of Celtic, you would need to press high, and then that's on you to kind of just hopefully come out in a bit of a firefight. I think that's the way to go. There is a lack of options there. They obviously have got a bit of time for maybe a bit of last minute transfer magic, but it's highly unlikely that will pay off into a starter for a European game. But I think it has to be. I don't think there's that many ways around it unless. You've got the whiteboard out and come up with something different. I don't know how else they can really do it.
I think you're right. I think Bauer is not the Engels profile replacement. Definitely not. Different kind of player. I think Engels is a big miss. I think I know he divided opinion with some Celtic fans, and there's a lot of games and people would say, well, we didn't even notice him. He made no impact. I think a lot of his work, and it is a bit of a cliche, a lot of his work was unseen. I think in terms of covering the pitch and cutting down angles and all that stuff, I think he's a proper player, and he's a big miss for a European game, because I think he's better against better opposition as well. So he's a big miss. I think Bauer I think he can play as a number 8, more advanced than that. I think you're right. I think he'll come in and play in front. I think McGregor will be anchoring with Bauer and Negrin. The only question, I only had half an hour. I thought he looked decent when he came on. He had a nice wee flick for one of the goals, wee cheeky flick on. He caught out one of his wee flicks as well, but he wasn't shy. He wanted the ball into his feet. He was neat and tidy. A wee hint to me, he looks a wee bit like Elijah Just, a wee bit like Motherwell, who I thought Celtic should have went and bought. So if he's anything like Elijah Just, I think that'll do the trick for Celtic. He's not big. He's quite a wee guy. Like you say, I think LASK are fairly big side. So that's the only concern. There's not a lot of physicality in that middle of the park. I still think Celtic need a big bruiser in there that can control a ball, but they're not that easy to find. So, and there's not going to find it in the next 24 hours. So I think he's got to go. The question for me is what we've all just forgot about Rio Hatate. Do you know what I mean? Rio Hatate is like completely gone off a cliff. I mean, ordinarily you think, Hatate would just start in the middle of the park, and that's without a doubt. But he's so far now off the grid. He's almost like these people talking about him in the past tense when he's still in the building. But I know he's going to probably go in the next few weeks, and he looks a bit checked out when you see him. But it's a guy with a lot of appearances for Celtic, a lot of big games, and he's just gone. I mean, is there any chance of him getting lobbed back in for this game?
I don't think so. You heard his fan chant the other day as well, and you just feel that that's kind of almost like he's signing, where it's almost like it's crazy to think if you go back a couple of years. Now, my head is last couple of years in the Celtic jersey were just the best of them. But at one point, Hatate was as good as Kyogo was. Hatate, somebody like you ask Chris Sutton, who watches these games, and I don't think he extols the virtues anyone more than Hatate. He was kind of like the Celtic fans' favourite player, wasn't he, for a good couple of years, and a team packed of good players. But he's been reduced to such a level that. Then the one thing that I would obviously, you remember the cameo last season at Ibrox, the two each, where he obviously scores the penalty, but how he played in that second half. Remember this kind of groundswell of that's the real Hatate, and we're going to see. But I never deep down believed that. I felt that the form's been so inconsistent after the Leipzig game as well, when he was so good. There was a drop off again. I think that's the worry with him, and for all his many attributes, it just feels like he's in the squad, he's there, but I just don't think he'll get the call first, and that is kind of a sadness for a player that at one point is one of the most creative kind of. You talk about all these numbers at 6s and 8s and 10s, but is what you would call an 8, wouldn't you? A player that can go both ways. He's one of the better ones that's played in Scottish football in recent memory, and but I just don't see it. I think he'll be on the bench, and I don't think it would come on. I think that's his role now in the team. That which is kind of, as you say, but the players are linked as well. Like the actual Engels replacement, some especially Seeger, who's got versatility. He looks like the type of guy that could be the anchor on a European night, and maybe that will be the one. Like as much as there's been good vibes about Celtic in recent weeks. An unimpressive result or performance, and suddenly you're straight back on. Could we not had X and Y in the door as well? So they're still in that kind of perilous stage where they've got more talent in the door, but they need to make it pay off on the night as well. They can't fall short in areas that fans are concerned about, or instantly the heat will be back on the decision makers at the club.
No, that's it. This playoff is make a break in that respect. Yeah, and just in terms of Rio, I thought there was last season a couple of good performances in Europe. I thought against Sturm Graz he was good. It seems like a lifetime ago. I thought away to Feyenoord, I thought he was good. When Neil picked off the win in Rotterdam. But then again, you go to the Bologna game when he gets himself sent off. And then by that point, I think Martin Neal was losing a bit of trust in him. I just don't know where it went wrong this season. I mean, I think I spoke to him. He doesn't do much media stuff through the years, but I spoke to him like on a one-to-one basis for an interview last summer in Portugal in pre-season, and he was talking about how big a year it was for him and how determined he was to get to the World Cup with Japan, and it was like he seemed to be quite motivated. And then you see him kind of as the season goes on. He just looked in a bit of a huff. He just looked like, I think the Japan dream was fading by the week, and he seemed to be just a bit, I don't know, a bit huffy and a bit kind of fed up. And I think Martin Neal, I don't think it happened with Martin Neal. I don't think there's been like a fallout. I don't think there's been anything. I don't think there's been like a bust up or a fallout. I think Martin Neal just gradually lost a bit of faith in him. Didn't like the kind of huffing and puffing about the training ground, and he's just faded away. And I think you're right. I think he's now almost like kind of a forgotten man. I mean, he's not